Originally, I thought that I was only going to discuss making some changes to the Lego room, which we definitely do, but in addition to that, I also make some huge changes to the Lego room in this vlog. Hey everybody, what's going on? Welcome back. It's Jordan here. This is going to be a super casual vlog about the Lego room because recently I've been talking about making some changes and have been making changes. I actually was cleaning up last night. I organized all my tools and I put those Lego sorters that were back where we just looked there in this room, so that's good. I was just cleaning up and I was thinking to myself while drinking a coffee, I was like, what am I going to do here? I installed these shelves and I'm looking to install another set of shelves that are going to go over here on this back wall. And then I was looking down underneath and I was like, what are we going to do with all of this stuff underneath that just always becomes such a mess? Like, how am I going to fix this problem? You know, we've got like the winter village over here. And we've got the underwater area. I was like, how am I going to clean this up for the future? So I've come up with some ideas and I'm just going to discuss them today in this video. So the shelving actually kickstarted my thoughts on this. I want to put more shelving up here. The problem is these shelves are 12 inches. So they're actually not going to fit behind the loop coaster. So there's a couple solutions. I could just not put shelving here, or I could notch a shelf and have it go around the loop coaster, or there could just be a small gap between the loop coaster, or it could just start right there, or I could raise it up and it could just be a taller shelf, right? But then I got drastic. I was like, maybe I need to move the loop coaster. It's like there's not a whole lot of space that can accommodate the loop coaster in our potential amusement park layout. I was like, the only way to accommodate the loop coaster is to move the Eiffel Tower. I could get rid of the Eiffel Tower and remove it from the city. And when I heard the Eiffel Tower was coming out, I made a bunch of changes to the Lego room. Specifically, I got rid of 2 Billy units that used to be on the side of these PAX units. And these PAX units were pulled forward about 6 inches or so. And I cleared this spot for the Eiffel Tower. Well, actually, no. Originally, I cleared that spot for the Eiffel Tower. Thought I was going to go there. And I was like, wow, that thing is way too big. And then I cleared this spot. And it actually fits perfectly in this spot. It's funny because like the little squares that the feet of the Eiffel Tower sit on fit perfectly in that corner there where all my tools are right now. So that's originally where I thought I was going to put the Eiffel Tower. So if I remove the Eiffel Tower from the city, that's where it would go. But hold the phone. If I remove the Eiffel Tower from the city, we no longer have this awesome effect. It looks so amazing in the background, right? Also, that's a huge plot of land opened up here in the Lego City. So what would we do if I removed the Eiffel Tower? This amusement park train line could be extended back. I was like, yeah, that's a cool idea. Maybe this amusement park train line should go right to the back and sort of line up with the other one and curve around and go that way. Just a bigger train track for the amusement park train line. But then I was like, okay, if that happens, that Disney train has to sneak underneath the raised train line and it just doesn't fit. I'd have to make some changes to the raised train line, just slowly, gradually bring it up, probably 1 brick to accommodate that, which isn't really a big deal. Then I could move the loop coaster and put it right here. So this train would go under there and around, and the loop coaster would be right there. Also, another positive is the raised train line would no longer have to do this. It has to do this because the loop coaster, the back loop there, it has to be pulled forward a little bit so that it doesn't hit that train track. Therefore, the whole loop coaster moves forward and this has to go like that. So if this loop coaster was moved over here and this train went over there, this one could now come straight. So that's one idea that I had for the potential amusement park layout. You could expand the train line, remove the Eiffel Tower, and move the loop coaster. And once again, this whole thought process was sparked just by the simple idea of putting shelving on that back wall because it can't fit behind the loop coaster in its current position. Pretty crazy. Also, I want to clean this up. I don't want this mess here anymore, and I've got some ideas in regards to that as well. Let's talk about that in 1 second. Recently, I cleared the entire raised platform. Another thing that I could potentially do is bring back a section of the raised platform. We actually used to have it like this, and that raised platform would fill in this whole area. And then these two trains would pass underneath more tunnels. So that'd be pretty cool because the Disney train would go in a tunnel, and this other train over here would go in a tunnel, and then this would go straight. And we'd have this whole raised area back here. Although that is hard to reach, but luckily it's just exposed table here, so it's really easy for me to stand on. Plus I can put my step stool in here, and if the Eiffel Tower is not in the way, it's easy to access. I recently did a bunch of ballasting back here, so all of that ballasting would no longer be needed because it would be underneath a raised platform. But I wouldn't take that apart, I would just reuse that in future train track systems. So if I did that, I'd have this longer raised platform. What would I do with the raised platform? I was thinking rolling green hills would be pretty cool, but that is a lot of brick and a lot of plate and just a lot of pieces. Eventually I want to make this all landscaping. But what would I put on there? Well, I was thinking to myself, I know it's not like realistic, but maybe, just maybe, I'm thinking of making that my medieval area. Would that be cool? The reality is I have absolutely no motivation to work on the medieval area where it currently is, simply because I just can't really see it. I don't really want to crawl on my knees to access it, and it's just not in the best position, honestly. And it just becomes a mess right now. I've always just put stuff on these platforms. It doesn't look good. In my opinion, these bottom areas just aren't looking too good, especially when you're like looking from this perspective. So I'm thinking maybe I can take all of those castles and either put them on the raised platform and make a medieval scene up there, or I could put them on the shelf above that raised platform. Don't get me wrong, I still want to make under table scenes, just I don't really understand why I put these things down here and have them as horrendous messes if I don't have the time to work on them. So what I should do, and what I'm going to do, is actually pack away this underwater scene because I haven't had the time to do it properly the way that I want to do it. So I'm going to put all of that stuff into a bag or a box and get rid of it. And I'm going to get rid of that piece of wood so we no longer see this mess under here, because I want to get rid of the mess. So I'm going to get rid of that one. I'm also going to get rid of this platform right here as well. And I'm going to shift that Winter Village area back there. That train yard is just going to be condensed and consolidated because I never run the trains under there anyway. And pretty much all the under table scenes at this point are going to be dismantled and removed. Yeah, but then I've got to figure out what I'm going to do with all of the sets under there, such as the castles. Either I build the medieval scene or I put them on the shelves. Haven't quite decided yet. Just the main thing that's resisting me from doing this is the removal of the Eiffel Tower from the amusement park. There's no other way of fitting the loop coaster, the Eiffel Tower, and having the shelf, unless of course I just make a smaller shelf. But maybe the changes, like the extended train line and the movement of the loop coaster and the fix of this train line so it no longer does that weird curve, and the addition of potentially castles on the back wall or on the raised platform outweighs having the Eiffel Tower in the Lego City. You know what? I've decided that we are going to act on some of these changes today as well. Now, I want to clarify something. It's not that I don't want my underwater scene. Like, I want to eventually do my idea where I frame it between the legs, add a blue background, a blue light, Mills plate the entire thing. But I shouldn't have built this structure or had this structure here with all of this stuff on it until I was actually ready to do that. For example, if I knew I was ready to commit to creating the under table scene for the medieval area, that's when I should actually build the table for it and set everything up. I shouldn't rush into things and set up the table for it and then not do it. What I should do is say, okay, I'm going to build the medieval scene this month and then set up the platform for it and commit to doing it rather than saying, oh, I'm going to do that in the future. You know what I mean? It just makes more sense to do things that way. Like, my main focus is on the city because that's more presentable than the under table scenes. I got to get out of the habit of like setting this stuff up for future projects. What I should do is just focus on my main area, which is up top here. But we are gonna work on cleaning some stuff up. First, I've gotta eat some delicious pancakes on this fine Easter Sunday. Oh, I forgot to mention, something that upset me was this measurement. So when I get rid of this platform here so I can clean up my mess so I no longer have this happening, I wanted to put these 3 Alex units that are currently under my desk between those 2 table legs. 1 centimeter is the difference. It won't fit by 1 centimeter. Of course, I could move these legs to the exterior of the frame, but then there's going to be like this awkward gap. I still might do that, just put this leg here, but I sort of like it in the interior of the frame. I did that to accommodate this Alex unit. See, I moved this leg to the outside. 1 centimeter though. Are you kidding me? Okay, I'm gonna clean up that underwater scene right now. From sets, tan base plates, tan slopes, tan plate, a whole bunch of custom coral reef, sharks, fish, and minifigures. That was a ton of pieces. And you know what? I've always known that when I rebuild this, I have to start from scratch to eliminate all the dust and dog hair and to change it up into mills. Seriously though, gotta pull out the knee pads. My knees are already killing me. Seriously though, doesn't this just look so much better? There's no clutter under there. I don't know, there's just something about the clutter that sort of takes away from the Lego city. But seriously, the Winter Village scene looks good, right? But you just can't see it unless you're right up close to it. From here, it looks fantastic. But from here, it's like, what is that underneath your table? It doesn't look good at all. Especially when I classically turn it into a graveyard. And when I mean graveyard, I mean graveyard. Oh my gosh. There is so much stuff that needs to be parted out and sorted. So I'm going to be taking care of that tomorrow, which is Monday. The next thing I want to be taking care of today is this train yard, which I essentially stole all the track from, so it's no longer operational. The back tables here are going to be staying, just because you can't really see them from afar. And I need somewhere to store scenes like the Winter Village, right? I don't want to part that out, and I don't want to put it on the ground because they get covered in dog hair and dust. So I don't think keeping these back raised platforms or whatever, little platforms underneath the table is the end of the world. But I definitely need to condense this non-functioning train yard. I've got big sheets of wood, sets, parts, and train track everywhere at the moment, but doesn't that look a lot better? The second under table scene platform is gone, and it just looks so clean. Oh my gosh, I've got to continue. So I'm going to get rid of the platform that has the medieval scene as well. So I'm really liking that. It's just so clean. And I thought of another huge positive from this change. So I do a lot of Lego City changes. I move modular buildings or pretty much anything. And whenever I move those modular buildings, I have to take them out of the city, put them on the ground, slide them over here, bring them to the next hole, slide it over there, and pop up through the hole and place it in the city, right? So if I wanted to move, I don't know, the brick bank over here on Pop Culture Street, it's quite the move. Now, when I'm under here, I can pop up through here, right? And then I can crawl to the next one. I no longer need to go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So it's so much easier to access the Lego City from that perspective as well, which is hugely beneficial for my knees and just for accessing this massive city, right? And also, the Winter Village looks pretty good there. You can actually see it. I think it looks better there than it did here. I put some of these castles up on the raised platform. They're probably going to go in the shelves. I don't know if I'm going to do a medieval scene on the raised platform. And if I do that, then I've got to, I said do, but if I do that, oh my gosh. If I do that, then I'd have to, accommodate them like a mountain or a hill or have them raised up and actually make them work in that area so it looks like some sort of castle. Or I just go all in and make like a medieval battle scene up top there. I haven't quite decided. And also, I haven't decided what I'm going to do with the amusement park yet. if I'm going to extend that raised platform, if I'm going to remove the Eiffel Tower. And you know what I've got to do next? Well, I've got to vacuum, which it should be pretty easy to do under here now. So that's another positive. Pretty easy to vacuum up all the dog hair and dust. And then I've got to clean all of this stuff up. So this stuff's all got to be like parted out, sorted, organized, and distributed into like the part bins, really. So yeah, a ton of work still needs to happen down here. I'm out of breath from crawling underneath the tables like that. But I am really excited about the direction that we are heading. I just want this Lego room to look very clean, and that definitely looks a lot better than it did before. Like, that is hugely positive in my opinion, and I am really excited about that. Everybody, I hope you enjoyed my vlog here and my Lego room update, I guess. Remember to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for some more great stuff, and farewell.